let me show you how to turn AI art into best-selling shirts, and we're going to go over a couple of different layouts that you can use utilizing this AI art in Kittl, and it's going to be super easy. I'm going to walk you through each one of them. And by the way, if you don't have Kittl yet, go ahead and sign up using the link down in the description, and you can even follow along and use these AI art images that I'm going to show you on the art feed. So let's get started. All right, the first thing I want to point out is our AI art feed, and what's going to be great about this tutorial is I can show you how we can use a variety of different AI art styles in different layouts for t-shirts. Now you can also just search up here, by the way. I'm going to search cat right here, and let's get started with a cat illustration. So I want to find one that we want to use. There's a bunch, but let's go with this one because I already like the theme of this one. We've got an astronaut cat surrounded by planets. Of course, we could just copy this prompt and tweak it, or we can just use this image. We're going to go ahead and use it. Now we're going to use ChatGPT to come up with some ideas for phrases that could go on a shirt with cats in space. So I'm going to type in here, ChatGPT, give me some funny phrases related to cats in space. This is just the free one, by the way. This is just the GPT 3.5. It's free to use. You can sign up, and this is a great way to get some ideas. As you can see, I'm putting "sell" on a t-shirt, and look at all the different phrases that you can use. This is a great place to go if you're struggling to come up with ideas. Now, back in Kittl, this has a background on it, so we're going to hit the AI background remover because AI art, unless you're using the vector style, it will come with a background, but you can just remove it really easily like that. And then we can get started with our type. So if you hit the T button, that's going to add your text. And again, we are going with space whiskers as our text for this. We're going to have space up here at the top, and then we're going to have whiskers down below. So what we want to do is find a style of type that goes with this design. Now, you can just scroll through all of the different varieties of type we have right here, but I can also just type in a keyword like space and look at all of these really cool fonts that come up underneath the category of space. And so let's just find one that we like. I really like this one called Brinky, and it's just a good kind of spacey looking, out of this world futuristic style font, almost like Y2K. Now a quick tip is to use all uppercase here, because on a t-shirt we want to make sure this is super legible, super easy to read, and it kind of fills the space nicely. It kind of creates a nice bar up there that houses this cat illustration. So we're going to put some effects on this, so you can go over to the effects panel and we can add some drop shadow on this, and then we can also add some outline. And then to change the color, what we can do is zoom in a little bit, and I can use this little eyedropper tool. If you click on it, then I can select one of these colors, and look at that. Now it's the same dark blue as in the illustration. And then I'm going to send it to the back. You can right click and send to back, and we'll play with that a little bit later. Now to duplicate the text, you can hold Alt or Option and drag. You can also hit Command or Control C and V if you want to duplicate text that way. And so now we're going to type in whiskers down here at the bottom. And so you can see this is one layout option here. I'm going to go ahead and turn the grid on, so you can hit the cog wheel and turn the grid on. And so this is one layout option where we have text, illustration, and text as it relates to this AI art that was generated. And so one thing to note though is that this word whiskers is a little bit too long, and so now if I make it the same size as space, you can see it's the same length as space. It's a little bit too hard to read, especially on a t-shirt design, and it also just looks a little bit wonky. So we may need to change the type. Let's go up here, and we're going to find one that's a little bit longer, a little bit more condensed, so that it takes up a little bit better space. So if I go over to sans serif, maybe we want to use something like this one right here, Anton. And so that one looks pretty good. You can notice that it got really condensed. So now I can start increasing the size. And so that already looks a lot more balanced against the top. Although it is a different font, it still fits. It's still nice and has the curvy high weight in this condensed font. So I also like how the cat's paws are kind of over top of whiskers, kind of like it's holding it. But we can also bring the type to the front if we want to right click and bring it to the front, since we have space back there in the back. But again, you can adjust this to be any way you want. So what we're going to do is duplicate this text again. You can hold Alt or Option and drag. I'm going to raise this top part up, and then we are going to work on some extra filler text. So I'm going to take the effects off, go back over to the text settings, and I want this to be that same color blue because I don't want to work with a too many different colors, especially on a t-shirt, since our AI art is already quite vibrant. I don't need the text to be distracting. So then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type in one giant leap for catkind instead of mankind. So kind of a play on words there. Now you can also adjust this with using the justify feature here. I really like this because it fills the space with this amount of words. Sometimes you'll have to play with this. It may not work in all instances, but for this specific design, I think using the justify to make it the exact length of whiskers is pretty cool. Now you could use the tracking feature, the letter spacing feature to do that, but I think this is pretty nice. Now one last thing I'm going to do is add some little blobs in the background. So we have these abstract gradient shapes right here that if I make these a little bit bigger and I change them to that color blue, then I can get a really neat effect as I set it behind here. So now I have it as that dark blue, and I can right click, send it to the back, and then it kind of ties in everything together to make it look like it's in space. Before, it kind of looked like all of these planets are kind of floating and they might get lost on the t-shirt depending on the t-shirt color. So adding some little blobs that make it look like space here in the background is a really neat way to complete this design. So here's our finished space whiskers design. You can see it on a lighter blue shirt, all done with the AI art in Kittl. Hey, real quick, if you're getting value out of this AI art t-shirt tutorial, let me know by hitting the thumbs up button and that red subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos. And let me know in the comments what other things you want to see with AI. What other tips do you need to know? What other tricks do you want to know as it relates to either apparel or other things? Let us know in the comments and we'll make those videos. Now let's get back to the tutorial. All right, so let's work on a tombstone shape layout, and that's where the text is going to curve around the top of this illustration of another cat, and we're going to put some text on the bottom to kind of complete that shape. So let's add some text with T. Remember, you can hit T on the keyboard. And for this one, we're going to go pause for anarchy. I'm going to use the circle transformation there, over there in the transformation section. And then I can use these little nodes right here to make it as curved, as intense as I want on this circular path. You can see that the text is now following a circular path. Now, we are going to change the text, of course. We are going to change the font in just a second, but I want to make sure I can get these P and the Y there to be as level, as center as possible there on the left and right. So now let's find a punk style font. So I typed in punk up there, and we're going to go through a couple of different fonts. I like this one right here. Partisan, I think, is a really cool kind of serif / punk kind of motorcycle-y looking vibe, which definitely fits the Pause for Anarchy slogan. So now you can see the P and the Y are nice and flat there on the left and right. So that is going to give us a really cool effect when we put some type down at the bottom and then fill in the space to kind of create this overall tombstone shape. So now what I want to do is go and change the text color. So I want it to be white and I want to give it that black outline. Then I can add some more text again with the T button as your quick shortcut, and then we are going to put down here at the bottom our filler text to fill out the rest of the design. So let's punk is what we're going to use, and we are going to put this directly in the center here, scale it up. You can just drag those anchors on the left or right. You can hold the Alt key to scale from the center, and then let's go back and let's find a different punk style font. I like this one right here because it has a really cool texture about it, which is really nice because it's kind of showing through to the background. It's a really, really cool effect on this font right here. Kind of looks like metal has been used in the making of this font. And so now what we're going to do is kind of play around with putting text in the front or in the back to create an effect. So now you can see the cat is kind of coming over top of the Let's Punk. I can also take the whole illustration, bring it to the front. So now the ears are over top of the front of the design. But now we need to fill the left and the right side to complete this tombstone shape, right? So what I'm going to go for is a lightning bolt effect or a lightning icon to kind of fill both the left and the right, kind of just filling out the overall punk style. I'm going to give it the same color and stroke as the text here, and then I'm going to add some grunge splatters to create this overall effect. And so here is our Pause for Anarchy t-shirt design that is in the tombstone layout using this AI illustration. Now let's do another one. So let's say we've got a cute AI art layout. So this was done with the kawaii style, right? So now we're going to have these repeating text for aloha here, but let's say we want it to kind of be that trendy wavy effect. So all we have to do is go over here and click on rise or wave or whatever you want to use, and then we can make the transformation as intense or as little as we want to, getting it to a place where we want. So let's go ahead and put this base curve somewhere around here, and then all we have to do is duplicate. Remember, hold Alt or Option and drag, and we can just duplicate this text, and then the effect stays the same on each text. That way we don't have to do it for each one. Now what I can do is I can select all of them and hit the tidy tool. To select all of them, you can either drag over it or you can hold shift and click one at a time. And then what we're going to do is bring in our little AI art pineapples over here. And for this layout, we're going to create some depth. So some are going to be behind and some are going to be in front. So now you can see here I have generated a couple of different pineapple AI art, and what I'm doing is I'm right clicking and hitting send to front or send to back, so you can see some of the pineapples are behind, some of them are in front. I'm giving some of them a stroke to complement each other. The text has the same stroke as the AI art, and so here you can see it on a tank top right here mocked up, all done in Kittl, and those are 3 different layouts you can use in AI art for t-shirt designs. Now if you want to see other tutorials using Kittl, I have these videos here on my right that I know you're going to enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos and features and things like that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.